We talk about the engagement of security agents.
Well, you're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're broadcasting live from the venue of the 7th Lagos Economic Summit. And we're being joined now on the program by the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Mrs. Adejoke Orolope Adefulure. Thank you so much, ma, for joining us this morning.
Very much.
Good morning, ma. This morning, what we're seeing basically is, or what we're hearing basically, is a reading out of all the recommendations from all the sessions that have been held in the last 2 days. First of all, the question I'm going to ask you, even though we know that the state has a track record for during various summits to ensure that all recommendations are pulled together and actually worked with, what is going to be the outcome of all the recommendations that will be read out here today?
Let me begin by emphasizing the fact that what we have this morning is the feedback from the various sections that we had in the last 2 days and the recommendation from different stakeholders in this summit. The last summit is a matter of principle by Lagos State government to ensure that all recommendations adopted at this summit must be implemented, because that's the basis of having the summit anyway. And the last one, we have implemented about 80% of the recommendation, and the 20% of the recommendation are all ongoing, because it's not what we can implement within the short period of 2 years. It falls within medium and long-term program of Lagos State government, and this will not be a different one. We're going to see to it, and that's why we have been looking at the various recommendations that we have lined up for adoption, and as soon as we adopt them, we will break into section again within the government of Lagos, and to ensure that each sector takes the responsibility to ensure that, and in doing that, we have regular quarterly review of what we have adopted here. Each sector now report to the council how far they have gone, to be able to ensure that you are on course, so that at the next economic session, we'll be able to tell the Lagosians and Nigerians that this is where we are on the recommendations.
Okay, ma. Now, in terms of looking at funding, that was one of the issues that was actually raised yesterday. And if you were in that session, you would notice that there was no seat. It was really full because everybody was very interested in knowing how fundable those projects are going to be. Is the state government going to do anything in terms of setting aside funds just to encourage, these private investors who have actually bought into this idea?
It's very interesting to note that the last economic summit team and what we plan to do was a very major component of the survival of millions of Lagosians and Nigerians, and it has to do with power, agriculture, housing, and transportation, which form major components of existence. And we've gone so far on that. We believe that joblessness of the youth, and in order to improve the life of the life of Nigerian and Lagosian in particular, we must take this power issue on the front runner. And we have, as a government, take a giant step in encouraging some private investors to come and partner with us. We have provided an enabling environment, legislation, provide regulations also to support their investments. And we have successfully implemented 3 IPPs that is up and running now. And we are looking for 2 more that are ongoing. And we want other people to partner with us. And we want to promise them that there will be a lot of return on their investments. And so if there's a way that we can assist them to do more on this, to empower Lagos, because there are a lot of opportunities that will come with it. We have job opportunities. We have a life-changing program that the nightclubs, night activities that Lagos is known for will come back, and everybody will be happy. and it will add value to their existence. So it's a concern to us as a government. And because in the past we have not been given this opportunity to encourage partners to generate electricity, but now that we have the opportunity, we are ready to support any investor,
Okay, so
either
is this
local
support
or foreign investor down.
is the support going to come in terms in form of funds?
Well, of course, if there's need for us to partner with it on funding to make Lagosian happy, this is our state. This is our state, and this is our people, and we owe it a duty to make them happy. By and large, we know that Lagos State per capita is the poorest in Nigeria, but anything that will bring joy and happiness to our people, we are ready to do.
Okay, so now after the summit, is there going to be, for instance, a roadshow? Because most of the participants here, most of the panelists actually complained on the fact that there's been lack of proper dissemination of information. So even though a lot of people are aware that this particular summit focused on power, focused on agriculture, transportation, and housing, is there going to be a roadshow of sorts to really show and tell Lagosians that this is what the state government is looking to do?
I believe if you look at the trend of our summits, you know that this particular summit has attracted a lot of investors, stakeholders, and partners in and out of this country. And we have, for the first time, majority from overseas to partner with this. It's very, very important to us as a government to ensure that those people that we serve, those people that we represent, are carried along. That now takes me to the issue of awareness, advocacy, and sensitization. And I believe that we will come as a stakeholder, as a government, and all the sectors that are concerned will come up with a program that will disseminate the information to the people of Lagos State.
Mrs. Adejoke Orolope Adefulire, thank you so much for coming on my program this morning, and all the best with the resolutions that will come out. And of course, it's going to be your duty to present it to the governor after today, and we're hoping that everything that's actually been talked about will be implemented.
We bless God. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
ma'am, for partnering with us. Thank you.
Well, that's the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Mrs. Adejoke Orolope Adefulire, and we've been talking about what's actually going to come out of today's recommendations. She's supposed to actually give it to the governor, and of course we'll keep monitoring. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're coming to you live from the venue of the 7th Lagos Economic Summit. Well, I'm being joined now on the program by the General Manager, Lagos State Residents Registration Agency, with particular emphasis on power and population, Mrs. Yinka Fashola. Thank you so much for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, in the last couple of days, it's been power, power, power. Now, your particular department focuses on power and population. Realistically, how much power does Lagos State need to generate to ensure that it caters for the clusters of business that we have, both small and industrial?
Okay, I think I need to change that a bit round, because what the agency does is actually registering residents of the state. Now, where that feeds into this conference is you need to know the number of people who are actually residing in the state, what they do, where they live, the kind of infrastructures that they are actually accessing, to actually accurately determine the number of power that the state needs. And that's where we come in. So we've been out there since September, registering people, asking people to come out, and just taking basic details about their demographics, so who they are, how many children they have, where they live, and we also look at the needs that they have. So we feed all that information back in a database to provide data for government, and with that they can use to plan. And then they plan where to actually put their power plants, what kind of people will be accessing that power, what will they be using it for, is it residential, is it business, and general things like that.
Okay, so for those residents who don't come to do to register, how do you collate this data? Because there have been issues of consumers using power and not paying for it, and so they always tend to run foul of the law and refuse to come to registration agencies to register so that they know how much electricity they consume. So what does your department do?
Okay, now we have registration stations across the state. We currently have about 211 open. And then we also have a mobile registration team where we actually go out into the community, into businesses to actually register. Because as you know, 9 to 5 people are working and shop traders are in their shops. So we actually go to them to register them.
Okay, so there's nobody that's actually going to say that they don't see your department coming to do the registration and taking the data and the rest of
No,
it.
none of that. And we also register children. It's all ages, irrespective of nationality, age, ethnic origin, even whether you're literate or illiterate, either one. We register everybody. So we want to know how many people are actually in this state and what are their power needs. And this is the best way to do it.
Okay, so now talking about power needs, the Commissioner for Commerce and Industry was on the program a couple of minutes ago, and she talked about the fact that there are clusters. There's one right now in Isolo, she says, and of course other ones are springing up. And the governor is very passionate about the fact that power should spread not just to the bigger industry but to the smaller industries as well. Now, so from your collation, your data collation, you have data to show that businesses, small businesses in particular, need this amount of power. Now, in your report, what would you say, or in your own view, what would you say, or which aspect should particular attention be focused on in terms of providing power?
Well, I would actually go with what the government is currently doing, and that is providing power to the public areas. By that I mean the hospitals, the schools, and businesses, places like that. Because when you get those up and running first, it reflects on those that are residential, in the sense that we get our children into school, they get better learn, better educated. Then they have a better employable workforce. Then you get the businesses up and running. That means they can open longer hours, they can provide better services, and all that is like a circle that goes round, and it all serves to improve the conditions of living in the state.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning, Inka.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, I've been speaking with Yinka Fashola. She's a general manager with the Lagos State Registration Agency, with particular focus on power and population. Well, that's the program for today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And as I said, we're still at the venue of the 7th Lagos Economic Summit. It's rounding off today. And right now, what's happening behind me on what has been happening during most of the program is a reading out of the resolutions from all the sessions that was actually held at the summit. But we're going to take you right back to it. But as I said, that's the program. That's Business Morning for today, the Thursday edition of the program. Of course, tomorrow we'll come to you live from our studio where we'll bring you a fresh and better package. Well, as I said, it's back to the session.
Quite a number of recommendations stemmed from this session.